Did you know that you can now get to 40 ergonomics and 90 recoil while suppressed with a powered optic and a 20 round magazine on the SVD? This gun has seen some serious buffs in the latest rework by BSG, and the ergonomics to start with have gone from 26 base up to 47, which is an improvement of 21. Not only this, but we've seen attachment changes as well, and the removal of overswing have all boosted the SVD significantly compared to its pre-patch performance. So let's take a look at this weapon and how to make the most of it in 1.0.4. Okay, so let's go and get ourselves an SVD from Prapor. They're pretty plentiful on the flea market, but you can get them from Prapor as well. And we're going to have a look and see, and you can see that the base stats already are much better than they used to be. 51 ergonomics and 114 vertical recoil. So to start with, I'm going to show you how to get to the minimum recoil version of the SVD. And for this, there used to be two versions of the SVD that we might like to use. That was all based around this section here. So they've renamed this part called the SVDS front trunnion. This happened a little bit ago. And you've got that version, which is the standard one that you get, alongside this one, the SVD SAG Mark 1 chassis. Now this guy used to be the more ergonomic style, and you used to find that the basic version modded into the more recoil-oriented style. But I'll show you now that that's basically gone. Should pretty much just keep it as the regular one. I don't think the Mark 1 is worth using anymore. So we'll leave the front trunnion on, and the first thing that we want to do is change the handguard. We've got the XRS and the SVD modernized, we'll go for that. Up at the top, we've got the SVD modernized kit top rail, which still gives you negative recoil. It's one of the few parts that still gives you negative recoil on the handguards. Usually you get these extra pieces, there's one for the SCAR as well, that gives you like -1 or something, because most of the recoil reduction is gone from handguards now, they don't give you any at all. So we're going to add this on. This allows you to add a sight at the back. We're going to stick on our 20 rounder, because we've got to put that on at some point. And then for vertical foregrips, a lot of people are surprised that these guys are now meta for recoil. So they give you -2 ergo, but they give you -3.5 recoil. And there's a couple of different grips that give you this, but this one fits straight on here. So it minimizes the weight, which isn't as important as it used to be, but it's still something that we can try to minimize where like there's no disadvantage for doing so. On the pistol grip, the SVDS one is actually not that bad because it gives you +5 ergo now. But what we can do is swap this over to this guy, the SVD Lynx Arms AK Series pistol adapter. And onto that, we can add any of the others that give you +5. So the US Palm gives +5. You also find the MOE AK. I think this one's probably the cheapest one, but there's quite a few now that give you +5 ergo and -1.5 recoil. So we're going to use one of those. On the stocks, the minimum recoil actually is still quite similar to what it used to be. So you go SVD adapter, and then onto that, we're going to add one of the buffer tubes. Now, interestingly, the ARE is no longer the minimum recoil, and the one that is, for, at least for the SVD, is this guy, the Magpul Enhanced Receiver Extension. You can see this is -1 versus 0.5. The ARE is still better for ergo because it's only -0.5 versus -1.5, but it's kind of much of a muchness, but we use the ERE for the time being. Onto this, the PRS Gen 3 is still the best negative recoil, so that's -24. Gives you the minimum recoil reduction that you can get for this gun on the back. Now, the last thing that we need to do, you can see we're at 92 now, and the ergonomics hasn't actually been hurt that badly. The last thing we need to do is add on the suppressor, so we're going to add the SVD thread adapter to the front. Make sure you've got the muzzle brake on first, otherwise it won't work. If you're buying one from the flea, then you can go and add on this guy, the Rotor 43 sound suppressor. So we'll stick that on. And you can, actually, we'll have a quick look at the stats on it, because this is -22 ergonomics, but it does give you -7% recoil. Not amazing recoil reduction, it's okay. Given that there's no alternative for the SVD, it's still pretty good, but -22 ergo does hurt a little bit, and pretty much offsets the buff that it got as its base recoil, right? It got 21 extra ergo as a base gun, and the suppressor is -22 ergo, so it pretty much gives you the suppressor for free these days. So that takes you down to 21.5 ergonomics, which is kind of low, but without overswing, it's not as bad as it used to be, and the vertical recoil is 77. So at this point, we can think, well, what about the other build, or is there anything else that we can add to this? And I guess for completeness, we probably should just add one of these scopes on it. We'll add a guy's thing, because this is probably how most people are going to use it. You can use a red dot or something if you really want to, but I feel that obviously this thing does work probably best at medium distances because it's semi-auto, big bullet. Recoil is still relatively high for this type of gun. So then using all of these pieces, you've then got 19.5 ergonomics and 77 vertical recoil. So the reason for me adding this on will become clear right now, because we're going to swap over to this. I've already built the other version. So this one is the SAG version. And if we load that up, you can see this is still 77 vertical recoil, because some of the parts are a little bit better for recoil reduction. However, you don't get the extra recoil reduction from the modernized rail on the back. So it ends up coming out to exactly the same. and the ergonomics is a little bit lower at 14.5. So there's not really much point using the SAG Mark 1. I think that this version of the gun has been rebalanced a little bit out of what is sensible to use. You may as well just keep it as is and have 19.5 ergo instead with the same vertical recoil. So you could just use it like this if you want to. It depends on how sensitive you are to ergonomics and ADS speed. As I said, without overswing, it doesn't feel too bad anymore. Let me just fold these targets down so we can see what's going on. This is what 20 ergonomics feels like on the SVD. Without overswing, it's a lot better than it used to be. You can see there's this little notch that comes in, but it's basically where you want it to be every time you ADS, which isn't too bad. It's not the fastest ADS, as you can see, but it's a lot better than it used to be. So you may well just want to use this, and it's all right. I'll just show you a quick shot with it. That's firing as fast as possible. So it jumps from here to about there, and if you fire a bunch of shots, then it's relatively centered. This shooting range is 50 meters, so it shows you it's relatively easy to keep it within a kind of thorax area. If you're clipping anybody with this stuff, it's going to be insane. And we'll go through the ammo at the end as to what you should use, because there are some that are craftable, some that are on the flea, that kind of thing. But if we want to improve the gun from here, we have to make some adjustments. All right, so we're back at the workbench. So what is the best bang for buck stuff that you can do right now? So we said that the PRS Gen 3 and the ERE was the best for vertical recoil. Now, the thing that we have to remember, so previously, if you guys are using DB for Tarkov, do remember that Evo Ergo, which was what we were optimizing for in the past, which really was to do with overswing specifically, doesn't really matter anymore. That includes the weight component of the parts into the ergonomics component, but since this update where they got rid of overswing and have said nothing about it, so who knows whether it's a bug or not, but at least for the time being, weight doesn't contribute towards ADS speed. So you're just looking for ergo specifically. Now the best combination that's kind of the next step down, you're going to go from minus 25 recoil reduction, which is the combination of -1 from this and minus 24 from this, down to 22.5, so you're going to lose 2.5 recoil, but you're going to get quite a lot of ergonomics back. So you can see we started at 19.5. If we go to the ARE, and then on the stock, we're going to then move to one that hasn't been used particularly much in the past, which is this one here, the ACS. This one was always decent, but never kind of cutting edge meta. So you see this is minus 22, and then you get the minus half from the ARE, but you get plus 9 ergo on this one. So this is quite good. So this gets us to 82 vertical recoil, so we've lost 5, but we jump up to 28.5 ergonomics. Now the next place that you're going to want to change a lot of ergo over, and you are going to lose some more recoil reduction, is obviously on the vertical foregrip. If you swap this over to something else, then you're going to gain a lot of ergo, because this guy in its default state gives you -2, and some of them give you a lot of extra ergonomics. So the ones that are kind of in the middle are either something like this, the DDM lock. There's a whole class of vertical foregrips and angle foregrips now, which give you -2 and +6 ergonomics. There's loads of them. And then the next step up is going up to +12 ergonomics. For the most part, those are kind of the two choices that you've got. So it depends on what you want. I often am moving up to the SI Cobra because it's relatively cheap. There's a few of them that give you +12. The Shift also gives you 12 as well. And you can put that on, and that gets you up to 90 vertical recoil, which is what I was talking about before, and 42 ergonomics. I didn't add on a flashlight or tactical device, which I always have on my guns. I tend to use this one. I know it gives you -2, but I just like the way that the modes work. So this is what gets me to 40 ergonomics and 90 vertical recoil on the SVD, which I think is really good. I think this build is honestly pretty decent. It's very close to the 7.62x51 DMRs, like the SR25, the RSAS, that kind of thing. Those ones can get a bit better ergo, and they can get a little bit lower vertical recoil, but all in all, for a semi-auto gun, it's kind of much of a muchness. And if you need it for like Punisher Part 6, or you just want to use something different, or you've got ammo for this gun, but you don't have it for 51 NATO, then this gives you an option. I'll show you how they compare to each other now in the hideout. Let's just flip down back into our shooting range. So this was our very slow ADS speed 19 ergonomics SVD, and we'll fire it in a second. I'll just show you the ergo first. So this is our snappier one. This is a lot better. This is usable, right? This is properly usable. You can see the reticle comes onto screen very quickly. It's only a very short time before it appears. And that's because, as we said, it's got much higher ergonomics at 40 or something, which is okay. You're only going to improve this a little bit if you take off the suppressor, which you can do, but the biggest problem with that is that you're going to increase the recoil quite a lot. So let's just go back to our first one. So I'll show you where it shoots. So we go shoot like that. So that's the sort of apex of the shot, and that's at 77 vertical recoil. This is at 90. So in semi, it doesn't really make that much difference. That's kind of the big takeaway for most of this, is that it doesn't really matter which one you're using, because in semi-auto, the difference of 90 versus 77 is very small. If you fire on a loop over and over again, and same with this guy, you can hardly tell, honestly, between the two. I'd struggle to tell the difference between them. So you may as well just take the good ADS speed between this guy and this guy. This is why I want to optimize this and not just use the min recoil. So next up, let's look at the ammo that you can put into this gun. On the flea market, there's no ammo that you can get outside of boxes, so we'll look at that in a sec. But the ones you can buy from the actual traders is over on Prapor. You can buy T46M, which is the best thing that you can get just directly from the trader without doing any quests or anything, which is 82 damage and 41 pen. This honestly isn't bad. I tend to use this as a stacking round unless I am doing some really long range sniping, in which case the tracer is going to get in the way and cause problems. Outside of that, the next one that you can buy is 762 by 54R PS. This isn't that much better, because it only has 45 penetration as opposed to 41. Now, you might not think that that makes a difference, but over decent distances, we've got damage drop-off and pen drop-off. In this case, it's the pen drop-off that matters more. As soon as you start dipping down into the high 30s, your pen chance through class 4 helmets goes from nearly 100% down to 70, 60, 50, etc. as you get into the sort of 38, 37, 36 pen range. And over distance, that can matter. So PS is much more consistent at one-shotting headshots on people with class 4 helmets, which is basically what you want with a weapon like this, especially if you're using like a 6x, like a Voodoo or the Razor or something. So PS is pretty good to unlock. Now, you do have to do Punisher Part 6 for this, which is the quest that you actually want to use PS for, which is a bit unfortunate. And so there are ways of getting this. The PS is the best ammo for the SVD that you can get directly on the fleet. It does exist there. It is expensive, but you might want to think about putting kind of 5 rounds in the top of your magazine if you're really on a budget. So here, so you get 20 pack for 60k at the moment. So it is available. Does mean that you have at least the option to use some. You're not just scrabbling around in raid trying to find it. There are other packs as well. 762 by 54. As I said, that one's the best. You can buy LPS, which is pretty much the same as T46M, except it doesn't have a tracer in it. So some people do like using that as a stacking round instead if you're fighting at long ranges, but this is also pretty expensive. For some reason at the moment, it's actually more expensive than PS, which is a little bit weird, but anyway, never mind. And then outside of that, to get to the best ammo, you will then have to use the hideout. So I'm actually crafting this on and off with a few other things myself. In here, you can see that if you do Tarkov Shooter Part 7, then you can craft 7.62 54R BT. And this one is really, really good. Outside of the found in raid ammos, of which we're talking SMB and also BP, there is a 55 pen, 78 damage ammo here that you can craft at workbench level 3 out of Tarkov Shooter 7. So this is pretty much on par with M80A1, which is another craft in the hideout, which is the one that a lot of people are using in the 7.62 NATO guns. It's got the same pen and it actually has slightly more damage. Gives you a little bit of recoil reduction as well on BT here. So this helps the SVD kind of keep up with the other weapons, because this one actually has a positive recoil on it, which is bad because it gives you more recoil. So BT is craftable in the hideout. You don't get much, you only get 30, but admittedly you only get 40 for M80A1 as well. So if you do want to use this, then you can start crafting this once you unlock it, and then you can use it in the SVD. Just before we check out a couple of raids, we're going to look at one alternative to this, which is the SVT. Now the SVT is quite fun because now that there's no overswing, this gun's quite heavy at 4 kilograms, and previously the overswing made this a bit tricky to use. But now without it, you can just put in the 15-round AVT magazine, and then on the side you can use either of these, whichever one is the lighter one. They're both pretty much the same. And then on top of that, this one actually will take scopes directly, so you can use like the Nightfalls or something and put Voodoo on it. This is so bang for buck crazy. You could even just go to stick a red dot on it, like we said before. And this is actually one of the best guns for going to labs on a budget. I know a lot of people who use this as kind of like a big min-max because it's so cheap compared to the SVD. It's only 60k, and you can buy them on the flea market. And then you can see the whole gun here with a little scope on it is 110k. So this is really cost effective, uses exactly the same ammo as the SVD. It has 104 vertical recoil, which is about the same as the SVD as well if you're using it in its budget configuration. And admittedly, yes, the ergonomics is lower. You can swap over to this thing, an SVD style stock for it, which gives you a little bit more ergo, but you're never going to get into the kind of the 40s, 50s and 60s like you can with the SVD, but that's the price you pay for going budget. So just bear this guy in mind. With the removal of overswing, this thing has become a lot better. So next up, let's check how the SVD has been in a couple of my recent raids. Often you get people just like rushing this. I might stay in cover here for a sec. See if somebody, like, rushes this side. I mean, I've got a good spawn for this, but... What I could do, I could pop through this way, actually. It'd be kind of interesting. Oh my god. Better shots than I usually pop off from this angle, so that's not too bad so far. Most videos ended 151 ergo and 100 vert. Yeah, not bad, eh? Pretty good. Right, I'm going to pop up in here. I should have the key to this building, so I'm going to try and go up into that office area again. SVD slaps her. I think the SVD's pretty good now. I basically took like a 20 ergo point boost, which is kind of insane, actually. Like that's a big buff, you know. So whoever that guy was, like, naded me over the top. They might still be in that area. It's possible. Oh, there he goes. Unlucky, buddy. Unlucky. Oh, we're actually like right here. I don't know whether this is a good idea to just like go straight in. Maybe it is. Someone spawn crack house if I spawn here? I feel like no, but it's one of these things, right? This one. Greetings from Nagano98. You have a Nike guy coming your way, just giving you a friendly heads up. Nike guy. Oh yeah. What do you know? Oh, I should have replenished my meds, but never mind. Anything else in here? It's quite good stuff. It's got high value things in it. I didn't realise it's such a good loot room. I had no clue. I had no clue. I've never been in here before. Okay. I do have one of these. Don't know where they went. I mean, I might just go, because... Oh, gosh. Charlotte's crew? Must be. Ow. Right, that's probably enough. Oh, better fire the flare. We'll just take the XP and run. They don't usually have anything good on them, really. I mean, the Charlotte sometimes has okay stuff, but I can't really be bothered. Oh, this is a really awful spawn for what I want to do. God damn it. Yeah, getting used to it. I mean, it's going to take time. It's going to take time. Like the games takes a you know, it's hard to get into, and it's hard to get back into once you've been out of it for a bit, especially shooting wise. Like maybe just play, I don't know if you've got arena, but like arena's good for getting back into the shooting. I often feel like I just don't I don't stand a chance in the shooting. Even if I've taken like a week off and I've played like something else in the meanwhile, I just feel like I suck so bad. Ooh. Snipey boy. Can you just die, mate? I've got my point fire bonus on and everything. That's freaking insane. Oh, I should have equipped that and then taken this. I think he died with a lead poisoning enemy too. The hip fire. Yeah, the hip fire was horrible. Getting in the way of my BTR shenanigans. I think it was the SVD point fire that was the issue, not the pen and the bullets. It has been feeling kind of awful. I like point fired at that. Wait, hold on. I might not have had my device on, actually. My attack device might have been off. Razor quietus, people popping. I mean, you can hear shots up there. There was someone fighting Sturm a minute ago. Like, I've just killed somebody. I don't think it's as quiet as people are saying. Oh my god, BTR is actually here. Got waylaid by this moron, though. I don't know if I'll have time to pay. Is the pockets bug for cash still here? I've got 1 minute.
How are you, American comrade?
So as usual, big shout out to all my patrons, and as always, have fun in your raids.